Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my labor and delivery story of my first son. If you're new to my channel, I have a 14-month-old baby boy or a toddler, depending on what you prefer. And I'm also currently 37 weeks pregnant with my second son. So I thought before I experience labor and delivery all over again that I would document Landon's birth story, and also a few of you subscribers have asked me to film this for you guys. So I thought it'd be perfect to do it now considering I'm so close to my due date. So I'm just gonna get started right into the video. So I will start off by saying I went into labor on my due date, which was March 30th of last year. And keep in mind, only 5% of women go into labor and have their baby on their due date. So I woke up around 12:30 in the afternoon that day, and I remember Kevin was on the phone with his mom. She was kind of just asking if anything had changed, stuff like that. And when he got off the phone, I told him that I just felt weird. I don't know what it was. I just felt a little bit off. I didn't think anything of it though, considering it was my due date and it's so rare to have your baby on your due date. The thought of having him didn't even cross my mind. So one thing was for sure, I had to use the bathroom really bad. So I got out of bed and I tried to go, and the muscles you use to use the bathroom are the exact same muscles you use to push out a baby. So when I was going, something just didn't feel right. It felt like a lot of pressure just everywhere. So I was like, nope, not today. Pull my pants back up. I was like, we'll try this later. We'll try it tomorrow. I don't care. I'm not doing this. But I still really had to go. Like, I knew that I had to go to the bathroom, but I just refused to try. So I laid back in bed and I was just sitting there on my phone, and one of my friends had texted my group chat and she was just like, when are you having this baby? Like, it's been forever. And I want to say like 3 minutes after she sent that message, I felt this cramping feeling in my back that worked its way to my stomach. It was so dull and so minor that I thought it was in my head. Like, I was like, I'm literally just convincing myself, trying to make myself make something out of this, and it's really just nothing. So I just waited. I was like, this is a little bit weird. And probably 15 minutes later, it happened again. That is when I started to think like maybe that was a contraction, but I wasn't sure if it was gas pains or like a Braxton Hicks. So I had read that contractions feel like muscular discomfort in your back, and it kind of like radiates towards the front. So that's when I decided maybe I should tell Kevin what I'm feeling, even though I really don't think it's anything. So I called him into the room and I was like, listen, like, I think I'm having contractions. I don't really know. And from what Kevin knows about contractions, like, they're painful. And I was not in any pain. So he kind of just looked at me like, all right, like, we'll see how this goes, I guess. Like, what does it feel like? Like, he was just kind of questioning me. We were going back and forth. I was like, honestly, I think I'm fine. Like, it's whatever. So one thing I really wanted to do before even thinking about going to the hospital was painting my toes, because your feet are all up in everyone's face like when you're giving birth. So I was like, okay, if this is the real deal, I gotta paint my toes. So I opened my contraction app and I got my nail polish. I'm sitting on my bed and I'm just like, this is literally ridiculous. Like, I'm not even in labor, blah, whatever. So I'm just painting my toes and I feel the sensation again. So I hit the timer button and about 4 contractions happen. And at this point, I'm still in denial, but there's still that voice in the back of my head that's like, girl, you're having contractions. So I end up getting a notification on my phone and it's like, congrats, like, you're in labor, grab your bag and head to the hospital. Now, my contraction app lets me know when I should leave for the hospital, like if I can labor at home for a little bit. It lets me know like how progressed I am into labor, like if I'm in active labor, all that stuff. So I saw it and I was like, I'm not even in pain. Like, what? I was like, this app is literally broken. So I reset all of my contractions and I decided to start over once I felt them again. At this point, I realized that I have a lot to do like that day. I really wanted Chick-fil-A. I had been craving Chick-fil-A like crazy, and I also had to go to Lowe's to buy something for the house. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do the dishes to get some of this out of the way. And while I was doing the dishes, I realized that I started to feel really uncomfortable. I kind of had to take a minute to breathe. I was like, okay, I think this is the real deal because I don't really feel that well. After I finished the dishes, I ended up getting ready and I really wanted to take a shower, but I didn't have enough time, especially if my app was telling me to go to the hospital. So I skipped a shower and I just decided to throw some dry shampoo in my hair. I did my makeup as best as I could. I really didn't do anything fancy, even though I really wanted to look nice during the whole process, if I even was in labor, so I could have photos and all that good stuff. But Kevin was like, we need to go, like, I need your list for the hospital bag, like, we really need to, like, speed this up. And I'm just like, I need a second, you need a second to breathe, we just need to calm down, I'll meet you in the car. So Kevin's in the car, and this is when I try to use the bathroom again because I really had to go. Like, I knew it wasn't just pressure from the baby, like, I knew I had to use the bathroom. And every time I tried to go, like it wasn't painful, but the pressure was really uncomfortable. So again, I was just like, this isn't working, whatever, let's just leave. So as I'm leaving, like I'm still timing my contractions like usual, and this time they're coming a little bit closer together. And right when I get into the car and I end my last contraction, I get a notification and it says, you need to go to the hospital right now, or you need to like call an ambulance or something. Like the notification was so extreme. I'll put it up here because I have it screenshotted. That's when I was like, this is not labor. Like this can't be real. Like I'm not really in that much pain. And this app is making it seem like I'm about to like birth this baby out in this seat right here, right now. So I was like, all right, let's just go to Chick-fil-A and we'll see what happens from there. And Kevin's like, you should probably call your doctor. Like, you should probably let them know that we're coming in. So I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I should probably do that. Like, I was so calm and like nonchalant during this whole process. And that's just not how I pictured this story to go, like in my head. So I was like, oh, thank God you're here, because I just would have gone to Chick-fil-A and went to the hospital. Obviously Kevin would have been there the whole time, but like in my mind I'm doing things completely different. Like he's sane, like he's in his right mind, and I'm just kind of like go with the flow, pregnancy brain, probably in labor, not knowing what's going on. So anyway, I get off the phone with my mom because she had called me and she was like, yes, definitely call your doctor and let me know what happens. So we pull into the gas station to get gas, and that's when I decided to call my doctor. And the on-call nurse answers and I tell her I'm pretty sure I'm in labor, like I'm timing my contractions on an app and it's telling me that I should go to the hospital because my contractions are about 10 to 15 minutes apart now. And she was like, okay, I will, tell your doctor and I'll have her call you. So a few minutes goes by and now we're on our way to Chick-fil-A, and that's when my doctor calls me and she's like, hi, like I heard, you're in labor. What are your contractions like? Asking me the lowdown of questions. And I'm just like, well, I'm not in that much pain. I'm a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm timing them and they are, kind of close together and they're lasting for a decent amount of time. It's been so long, guys, I really don't know the times. If I have them screenshotted, I'll put them here. They're lasting probably about like 20 seconds, I want to say, and they're about 10 to 15 minutes apart. So my doctor just tells me, okay, like you can come in, triage will check you, we'll check you in and everything like that, and I will see you when I get there. So I was like, okay, like see you soon. So we get to Chick-fil-A and I'm literally so excited at this point. Like I just can't wait to eat. And if you've ever been to Chick-fil-A, once you're in line, you're not getting out. Like there's, concrete barriers on each side of the line and you can't pull out. Like you just can't leave. Like you have to stay, you have to go through the whole line. And Chick-fil-A had just opened up in my area. So this place was popping. Like there were so many people there, and Kevin's like, are you sure you want to go on this line? Like if we're in here, we're stuck in here for a little bit. And I was like, listen, you can't eat if you're in labor. You can't eat when you're in the hospital. I need to get food in me. Like I skipped breakfast for this. Like I need Chick-fil-A. So he's like, all right, we'll get you your Chick-fil-A. So we're in line and Kevin's like, I'll probably call my mom, let her know what's going on. So he called her and she was so confused because not too long ago, you know, we were just on the phone with her telling her nothing had happened. And at this point, I want to say it's like around like 3:34-ish. So I order my Chick-fil-A, and then when we're in line is when I realize, like, okay, I'm kind of in pain now. Like, this is starting to be really uncomfortable. And laboring in the car, you guys, is seriously the worst thing in the entire world. I wish it on nobody. Like, the ride to the hospital is so painful. Like, just having to sit up straight in a car, and like seats aren't really that comfortable in cars, so I was really not feeling that well. Luckily, Lowe's or Home Depot is right next to our Chick-fil-A. So after we got our Chick-fil-A, I was like, I need to use the bathroom right now. Like, I need to go. You need to pull up to Home Depot and I need to use the bathroom. So he was like, okay, like he pulls up, I go in. The bathroom is all the way in the back of Home Depot, and Home Depot is huge, like it's so big. And I was like, great, like this sucks, I'm in pain. The waddle is real, you guys. Like, it feels like a bowling ball is like in my area, and I'm just like, okay, this is not good. So I'm struggling to waddle through Home Depot to use the bathroom because I literally feel like I'm going to poop my pants. So I'm like, all right, keep it together, like you're good, you're gonna go to the bathroom, it's gonna be a success, and then you're going to go to the hospital. So I go into the bathroom and I try to go, and this is TMI, okay? Like, this is a labor and delivery video, you know, there are some gross things, but when I pulled down my pants to use the bathroom, I saw that there was blood in my underwear, and I was like, yep, nope, literally definitely not pooping today. Like, we're not trying this, because in my mind that means I'm dilating a lot, like something is happening. I don't know if he's in my birth canal. There's so much pressure. I'm starting to get a little bit scared, and I'm like, no, like we gotta go, we're leaving. So as I'm leaving the stall, washing my hands, a lady walks in and she's like, oh my God, like, are you in labor? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, is this your first baby? And I was like, yep. Like, I'm about to go to the hospital. I just had to use the bathroom. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, it's so painful, but it's the best experience ever. And we were like talking for a good minute. And then I was like, all right, like, I should probably go to the hospital now. And she was like, yes, like, good luck, yada, yada. That was like the end of the conversation, and then I was just like booking it to the door. I was like, got it, we gotta go, like we gotta go. So as I'm walking out of Home Depot, I see Kevin walking into Home Depot, and at this point, my hormones are all over the place. I'm terrified because I think this baby is coming out of me right now. I'm not in a ton of pain, but I'm definitely uncomfortable, and I'm just like, what are you doing out of the car? Get into the car. What are you doing? We're not shopping in Home Depot anymore. Like, that plan is completely scratched off. We're moving on. And he was like, no, like, I just got off the phone with your mom and your aunt. I told them you had to use the bathroom, and they completely freaked out. They were like, no, like, that just means the baby's coming. Like, don't have her poop a baby out in Home Depot. And he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna go get her. So that happened. I did not poop a baby out in Home Depot or in my car. So we get to the hospital and we make it up to labor and delivery. And at this point, I am in too much pain to talk. My contractions are really painful, and they're also really close together. And I feel like I'm really not getting any kind of break. So Kevin's just like checking us in, getting all of our information together. So I finally am able to get into triage, and that's when they give me like a gown and everything, and they tell me to change because they're gonna put an IV in and check me. So I'm changing, and I just remember this so clearly. Like, I was in a lot of pain, and I also kind of felt nauseous. So I finally get on the bed, and they are trying to put an IV in me. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. It takes 3 different nurses also to put an IV in me, and I'm pretty sure it was the first or second time they completely missed my vein. And there was just this bump of like free floating fluid in my arm. And I was like, is this gonna go away? And she was like, oh yeah, in like 2 to 3 days. And I was like, what? like literally this huge bump of just fluid like hanging out in my arm. And I was like, but anyway, a doctor finally ends up coming in and she checks me and she's like, asking me how my pain is, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe like a 3. Like, I'm not in excruciating pain, but it's definitely not something I want to experience on a day-to-day basis, you know? So I'm like, I'm at a 3. She was like, you don't really seem like you're in labor. And I was like, all right, well, you tell me. Like, I'm in pain. Something is definitely happening here. Like, I don't feel like this all the time. So she checks me and she's like, oh. She's like, yeah, you're in labor. You're 5 centimeters dilated. And I was like, what? Like, that's, like, I'm just confused considering like any kind of labor and delivery video I've watched. A lot of women labor at home for a long time, or when they get to the hospital, you know, they're told to go home to labor. So I was like halfway there. Like, I'm lucky I even came when I came. Like, I was gonna just hang out at home and like eat my Chick-fil-A. So I was just mind blown at this point. So after triage, they bring me to my room where I'm going to be delivering. So around this time is when my nurse came in, and this was the nurse that I was gonna have during the entire laboring process. So she switched out with the other nurse and she was amazing. I loved her. She was so great. She was so supportive. Like, she was just awesome. Like, hands down, the best nurse I could have asked for. I told her I wanted my epidural, so, you know, she contacted the anesthesiologist and she said he'd be up as soon as he could. And I think it took about a half hour to an hour for him to come up, because by the time he got into my room was, I think, you know, the tip of the iceberg for me, where I don't think I could have handled anymore. I was like squeezing the crap out of Kevin's hand the entire time. His hand was like so red. I was breathing through my contractions really well, but like it just started to be too painful for me. So in walks my anesthesiologist and I start to have the biggest panic attack ever. My heart rate shoots up and my nurse is like, you need to calm down, just breathe, like everything's gonna be okay. I'm terrified. Like, a needle going into your back, like, I watched the procedure on YouTube. Probably shouldn't have done it, but I did it. So I'm like, holy crap, like I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, what if it hurts? Like, some women like experience like a zinging pain, and I'm just like, I can't. Like, I really don't know if I can do this. And I was like, okay, like, I just don't want to see the instruments, because sometimes they'll show you everything that they're gonna do, and I was like, no, thank you, please just do it, get it over with. So I'm hunched over, and from what I remember, he didn't really count down for the numbing shot. He was just like, are you ready? And I was like, yep. And it was kind of just out of nowhere. It felt like a pinch, like literally fingernails just like pinching you. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but my body naturally just reacted and it made me jump. Like, I just couldn't control it. It's just like my body took over. After he like numbed me with like the shot, I felt nothing. I didn't feel a single thing. I think I felt like a little bit of pressure. I felt a cold sensation though, and it went all the way down my back and it went through my legs. And after that, I think it took him maybe like a minute and a half. So anyway, I think it took him about like a minute and a half to like do the whole procedure. And I thought it was gonna be like worse. Like, I thought I was gonna feel more pain or like more sensations other than the numbing shot. And he's like, all right, I'm done. And I was like, that's it? Like, that's really all that you did? He was like, yeah, everything's in. It should be working. And I was like, alrighty, like, thank God. So my nurse had to help me like lay back down, and I think it took a minute, maybe even less. I couldn't feel a thing except on my left side. I did have some feeling in that side, and I was like, I don't think it's distributing. So her and Kevin physically had to like turn me over because I couldn't move whatsoever. And I think a few minutes later, like, everything completely went numb. This was like the most amazing feeling in the entire world. I literally felt like I was on a cloud. I was so tired. My body was so tired from contracting for so many hours that I I felt like I could pass out. Like I was taking Snapchats of myself, like finally telling my friends that I'm in labor because I had a second of relief. So after I get my epidural, they end up coming in and breaking my water. And by them, I mean like nurses. A nurse came in and it looked like a little crochet needle that she used. I didn't feel anything. In fact, after she was done, I was like, did you guys break my water yet? And she was like, yeah, we broke it a little bit ago. And I was like, oh, I didn't even feel that. And during that process, they also gave me a catheter because, you know, I have no control over my muscles. So I had that. I do remember feeling pressure though. I felt the pressure of my contractions and I felt the pressure of the catheter, which was super uncomfortable. I was not a fan of the catheter at all. So while they were giving me my catheter and breaking my water, they ended up checking me again. And I was about 7 centimeters at that point. I think like 7, almost 8, they said. I remember like my progression really vividly just because I was surprised how fast this process was going. So after everyone left my room, my doctor came in to check me because it had been a little bit, and I told them that I was feeling a lot of pressure. And she checked me and she told me I was 9 centimeters. And at this point I was in shock because I was like, oh my God, 9 centimeters, like 1 more centimeter, I have to like push a baby out. Like it was crazy. I couldn't believe I had progressed so fast. Like it was not what I expected to go down. So I was like, does this mean like I'm gonna like be a 10 in like a minute? And she was like, it could take you hours, like it could take you all night, it could take 5 minutes, like it just depends on your body. She was like, try to rest if you can. So about 15 minutes, probably like 10-15 minutes go by, and like Kevin's sitting in a chair watching TV. I'm just laying there and I felt the most like insane pressure ever. I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like there's a lot of pressure and it's not letting up. Like it's not going away. So I call my nurse in and I'm like, hi, like I know you guys just checked me, but I'm feeling a ton of pressure, like a lot of pressure. And it's not going away because I know it's not a contraction. Like I think something's happening. Like can my doctor come in and check me again? And she was like, are you sure? Like, you know, we did just check you. And I was like, yeah, like I know it's not a contraction. She was like, okay. So she gets my doctor and my doctor comes in and she's like, all right, like, let's see what's going on. She checks me and she's like, oh yeah, his head's like right here. And I was like, what? The one thing I did ask my doctor though was that I did not want my epidural to be turned off. I was like, I really want to try and push with my epidural. So while the nurses were getting stuff ready, she was like, all right, we'll try a few practice pushes. So I started pushing and then she told me that she could see his head. And Kevin, I remember saying, he was like, he has so much hair. And I was like, really, really? Like I couldn't see anything. And she was like, do you want to see? And I was like, no. I do not want to see what's going on down there. No, thank you. So I remember pushing, and because she was helping me not tear and like massaging me, which is basically like trying to help stretch you, it burned really bad. Like I really remember it burning, and I remember it so vividly because I thought that my epidural would help, you know, like ease that pain or just not have any pain whatsoever. And that was definitely something that I was not expecting to happen. A couple pushes after that, I honestly wanted to see my progress because I was getting really tired and I wanted to see where he was at. And when I asked to look, I'm gonna give you guys like kind of a visual here, okay? I could only see like this much of his head like coming out of me. Like, I don't know, like the size of my 4 fingers, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't know if it was pregnancy brain, me just being an idiot or not experiencing this experience in general. But when I was looking, I was like, why is his head so small? Like I literally thought he was like crowning around, and she was like, no, honey. That's literally just the very top of his head. And I remember laying back and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this isn't fitting out of me. Are you insane? Like, that's literally what was going through my mind. I was like, I can't do it. Nope, he's not coming out of me. Like, I don't even think this is physically possible. And they were like, okay, it's almost midnight. Like, are you gonna have this baby on your due date? And I was like, heck yes, I am. So the last 2 pushes, I literally gave everything I had, and he was born at 11:57, and oh my gosh, he was a whopping 8 pounds, 1 ounces, and he was 21 inches long, and I couldn't, oh my gosh, you guys, like the experience is just so surreal and amazing. Like oh my God, it makes me so sad thinking about it because it was just the best day ever. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, like this part is still like really fuzzy in my mind just because so much happened right after he was born. But basically, I just remember doing skin to skin for a while, and like Kevin was like right here with the baby. We were just like having, you know, a moment, and this is the part where I didn't expect any of this to really happen. So while Landon was laying on my chest, I had to deliver my placenta. And let me just tell you guys, no one talks about this. I had probably watched every single labor and delivery video on YouTube, and I don't think a single person talked about the intense rub they give you on your stomach after you have a baby, and it's so painful. And it's basically to push out like all the fluids and everything to make sure you don't hemorrhage. Oh my gosh, it was just, ugh, it was so painful. It hurt so bad because your stomach muscles are so sore. I hope I'm not like scaring anyone at all, but it's just like the truth. Like this is really what happens. So while they were weighing him, like I was delivering my placenta and they were like rubbing my stomach, and they do this multiple times to make sure you don't hemorrhage. So after that, I had Landon back, and that's when Kevin was like, what should we name him? And if you're new to my channel, Kevin and I were in between the name Mason and Landon, and I immediately knew that I wanted him to be named Landon. So that is everything for Landon's labor and delivery story, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a like if you want to see more videos like this. I can also make one about like my postpartum recovery because I feel like I have a lot of advice and insight on postpartum. So give this video a like, you guys, and make sure to say subscribe down below, and I will see you in my next video.